Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to try something a little different today while applying my makeup. And this routine, it took me a little bit longer just because it was my first time kind of following all the steps through. But I like the results, and if you want to see how I got this look, then keep watching. So I wanted to record this routine, something slightly different from the norm, but I found that as I work in a different order, with specifically talking about my base, I get better results. And this isn't anything new. I've seen plenty of makeup artists, including those here on YouTube, try this technique and successfully execute this technique, but I've never really tried it myself until recently. So I discovered that when I conceal, contour, and partially highlight prior to applying my foundation, I've been getting better results, especially with some of the busyness I have going on my skin these days. Like, you know, I'm working on my skin. It is starting to heal and fade, but I definitely, when I'm gonna be snatched, when I'm here to beat the face, I don't wanna see these marks. I'm fine in my bare skin. I'm okay bare face. Natural is beautiful. I'm very comfortable that way. But when I am trying to rock a full face, I need it to be even, covered, and concealed. So with that being said, I wanted to try this newer technique for me personally here today with you guys, just so you can kind of see how it's done, and also if I could kind of see if it's even worth the trouble. So I'm going to start by, of course, priming my face first. I've been really enjoying this Tatcha liquid silk canvas. I've been using this a lot more frequently, picking it up before other primers. And yeah, I've been enjoying the results. So of course I'm gonna just take one pump into my hands, warm it up, and then I'm gonna start in the center of my face and spread it out. And this primer also smells really good. I'm not the biggest on fragrance, but I can do a clean fragrance. Just nothing too perfumey. So next, also a part of the priming process, I've been using this product here that I used to use back in the day, like I would say probably about 5 or 7 years ago, back when I worked at the salon still. I used to use this product to help prolong the makeup, and it's the Mehron Makeup Skin Prep Pro. It is almost like an alcohol-based solution. It goes on kind of like a toner. You're actually supposed to wear it on your skin before you moisturize and prime, but I find that it works better when I apply it on the skin right before applying any makeup, almost like an additional primer. And what it does is it kind of blocks oil production. And now I know that sounds a little scary, but it's actually very beneficial for those who are extremely oily like myself. Of course, in the winter time, my oils tend to kind of normalize out. They don't get as crazy, but in the summer, I use this stuff in my full T-zone because I feel like I have to. So I just give it a nice little shake, and it's very liquidy. It's like literally like water. I'll apply it to like a triangle sponge, and it has like this little pore applicator, so you can only disperse a little. And I'll just take that and literally just dab it on my nose. And this is just where I tend to get the oiliest throughout the day. And then also just right here on the cheeks. And I don't want to dab too much because this stuff is extremely potent and concentrated, and it will dry you out if you apply too much. So I am gonna start this routine by, of course, grooming or concealing the brows as usual. So I'm just gonna take this creamy, what is this? The NARS, soft matte concealer in caramel. And I'm gonna use just an angle brush and kind of just clean up the brow. Nothing new here, except for I have a breakout in my brow. Like, who breaks out in their brow? Like, damn, I can't win. The angle brush that I'm using is the Sigma E75. And I do really like this angle brush. It definitely gets the job done. It is firm enough, but not too firm. And it's also tapered at the tip, which I need. This is a Morphe M421, and I'm just using this to kind of, you know, blend in that concealer. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're watching this on your cell phone, like on a small screen, you may not be able to see what I'm talking about. But if you're watching this on your desktop monitor, even on your laptop, on the TV in 4K, you can see all the spots that I'm talking about. So that's why this process is so important, because in person you can see the discoloration. Even though you may be looking at this on a small screen and you don't see the bad skin I always talk about, it is here, it is there. You could see it with the human eye. So that's, you know, that's why I'm here to cover it all. So in order to do this, I want to go in first and conceal the spots individually. Before I apply any foundation, before I contour, I want to focus on concealing the spots. All right, so here are the 3 concealers that I would consider using to cover the dark spots individually. The first one is the Tarte concealer in 47S. Then there is the Too Faced concealer in Butterscotch. And then lastly is the Kevyn Aucoin concealer in SX12. So as you can see, the Kevyn Aucoin is the warmest, and then there's the Butterscotch, and then there's the Tarte. But I think I'm gonna use the Butterscotch and just give it time to dry down. I used the Tarte one yesterday and I did like the results. I don't know, I actually may mix them. Let me see, because I don't want this Butterscotch to take forever to dry down, and I definitely don't want it to move once I've set it in place and then I've applied the foundation and now it has moved all over the place, and it kind of defeats the purpose if it moves off of the spot that I'm trying to cover. You feel me? I'll commit to the Butterscotch. I believe in the Butterscotch. So I'm going to hold my hand mirror so I could see really closely, and I'm going to take the applicator and just dot it on anywhere I have a dark spot. I'm also going to apply a little bit of this concealer around my mouth where I have hyperpigmentation. And I'm going to use a beauty blender just to blend out around my mouth, and then I'll let the other spots dry down a little bit. So though this may pull really warm or appear to be really warm on camera, I promise in person when I look in my mirrors, it looks very neutral. It does have a slightly warmer undertone, but that is going to balance right out because it's going to help neutralize the darkness. So this is something that I actually discovered while training in school. The color wheel will become your best friend when you are trying to conceal and correct. Also, when you're trying to just make slight adjustments, you really have to understand how colors cancel each other out, or how they play together basically. So now I'm gonna take my little detailed flat brush and I'm just gonna start to just conceal the spot and just make sure that I don't have a ton of product built up, and I'm just blending the product out. And it's okay that it's not fully blended because I still have a little work to do. So next I'm just gonna take a little bit of this Evian mineral water mist and just spray over my face, just a little bit. The last thing I need is my face to be real dry. Like, I want to combat the oils, but I don't want to end up with like a super matte finish because I don't like the way that looks. Even though I have oily or combo skin, I don't like the super matte finish. I don't know. It just looks like really cakey and like really overdone. And though that look is sometimes needed when you're going to do a lot of photography or filming, but honestly to wear in the real world, it just looks a lot. It looks like a lot. So moving right along with the process, I want to take now my contour color. So you guys know by now I use this little palette that I put together. I have a few different brands actually in this palette. I have a MAC contour color called Copper Beach. I have the Laura Mercier contour colors. I have the Fenty Beauty Matchstick and Truffle. So I'm actually going to mix the Matchstick and Truffle from Fenty Beauty with the Laura Mercier contour color. And this Laura Mercier color, she has a palette. So when I reference this color, it's typically the contour color 1, and then she also has a 2 and a 3. Actually, I think this is the darker one. I don't know, but get that palette because the formula, the Laura Mercier formula is beautiful. So I'm going to use my favorite brush, the Morphe E8. And I'm going to contour like usual, but obviously I'm not going to blend it as much because the foundation is still going to go on top. And I'm even going to contour my little 3 head, even though I typically don't, but you know, for balance purposes, I'll contour the forehead just a little bit. All right, and I like to curve my contour on the cheekbones just a little bit. So next I'm gonna go in with another cream product. This is actually the Fenty Beauty cream bronzer in the shade Teddy. Love this product. Mine is a little messy, but this is the shade Teddy. This shade, in the summer, this shade is not really, you know, it's not as popping as I like because I do tan and get darker, but in the winter, I love this shade because it is a golden undertone, so it doesn't give you that summer burnt red bronze, but it does give you like a glow, and I need a glow. So I'm gonna put this on the cheek and just blend it right into that contour color. It's looking crazy, but don't be alarmed. All right, so picking back up this first contour palette, I'm going to go in with the first 2 colors, the Truffle by Fenty Beauty and the Mercier. And I'm going to pretty heavily apply this to my nose because I know that I'm going to blend this out more than once. And I'm just using this color to carve out the beginning of my nose contour and then also the edge of my nose here. I'll even come into this nostril area here ever so slightly. Okay, so then lastly I'm going to conceal, and I'm going to use one of my favorites, the Cookie by Born This Way, the Too Faced concealer, and I'm going to apply it under my eye, but I want to kind of keep it in its area. I'm also going to bring it up pretty high on the sides of the nose and then down the bridge of the nose. So before the concealer dries down, I like to go in with a blending eyeshadow style brush. This is the MAC 286. It's a dual fiber blending brush. Amazing for cream products. And I like to use this to kind of move the concealer around in those smaller areas where the applicator is too big or the beauty blender is too big. I don't want to disturb my bottom lashes. If you wear bottom lashes, you know they come out super easily. So I don't like to rock them or touch them with the beauty blender. But if I use this brush is so gentle that I could move the product in those areas without using a lot of force. So I'm just gonna slightly blend. All right, so now that we have corrected the dark spots, we've contoured and also concealed, it's finally time to go in with the foundation and bring this look all the way together. So, of course, you know I'm using my favorite foundation because I just have been grabbing this bottle because I love it so much. This is the NARS Sheer Glow in the shade Tahoe. Right now in the winter, I only need the shade Tahoe. I'm going to use this Morphe E44, and I'm going to use the foundation brush first because I want to make sure I'm pressing the foundation onto the skin. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that coverage. And I'm just applying just a little foundation in the center of the forehead. And now I'm just going in with the beauty blender and just pressing everything into the skin without picking up anything. So in order to do that, you just want to make sure you have a little bit of your foundation on the beauty blender so it doesn't remove any product. I'm not mad at this at all, honey. Now I am just going to apply a teeny bit more concealer, only because I feel like I did not apply, either I didn't apply enough the first time, or maybe I should just conceal after the foundation. I'm literally just applying a teeny bit more, and then I'm going to just blend that out. So now that the base is nice and balanced, I can see my contour and my highlight. I think I'm really digging this style. So I'm gonna go in and just set my face with powder as usual. So I'm just gonna use this beauty blender and make sure concealer is blended out. I'm gonna go in with my MAC Studio Fix powder in the shade NC43. And I'm just gonna apply that under my eye first. I'm gonna go in with the powder brush. This is from Japanesque. And I'm gonna use my MAC Mineralize Skinfinish. These powders here. So I'm using the shade Dark. And I just wanna take it lightly and just set the rest of my face. And I don't really pick up this brush. This brush feels good. I need to grab another one. So for bronzer, I'm gonna use my NARS bronzer in Casino, definitely one of my favorites. And I'm gonna use this Smashbox sheer powder brush. And I'm just gonna do my usual of just reinforcing where I've bronzed. And this shade is just beautiful, subtle, nothing too crazy. So next with setting, I like to go in with my Huda powders and a damp beauty blender. I'm using the shades Blondie, and Kunafa. So I'm gonna mix the two for the upper half of my face. I'll mix the two shades, apply it under the eye, smile lines, down the sides of the nose. And then I'll take the darker shade, Kunafa, and just apply that underneath the contour just to clean that up. And I've really been enjoying this technique. I know it could come off a little harsh, but if the contour is not too strong when it's first applied, and then you use this reverse contour method, it really does make a nice blended, even effect. Now if the contour is too strong or too dark, it's gonna give you real drag. Sometimes you just fall victim to drag and you just gotta drag it out. Like, you know, you either gotta be light-handed or drag, and you just gonna have to figure that out. But I like this method, and it really kind of adds a lot more glam to the look. Even if the look is simple, it really just kind of cleans it up. Makes it seem like you know what you're doing. So I don't let this area bake long at all because it doesn't need to. Then under the eye, I don't let that bake either because it gets too dry. So I just kind of set it rather than bake. And then the nose, I'll leave the nose bake on because it needs to really kind of settle. So I'm gonna just finish the rest of my face off camera, and then I'll come back with the final results. All right, so this is the final look, and I have to say, I do enjoy this reverse contour concealing method. I do feel like I got better coverage. I didn't have to do a lot of fighting when I was concealing the dark spots. I will say I feel like I have on the same amount of product. Even though I went back to apply more concealer, I don't feel like it's overdone. And in person, I mean, it looks really good. So I think I'm gonna have to start practicing this method a little more frequently. I think once I get it down, obviously, the more I do it, the faster it'll become. I don't have to kind of think about what steps I'll be doing. I kind of got to break the old habits of applying foundation first. But with that being said, I think I've enjoyed this tutorial probably just as much as you did, hopefully. And if you've made it this far in this video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time. Peace.